college football world, man. I tell you what, if you were a college football fan, I know you had a great day yesterday. Enjoyed watching the games. If your team lost, and you probably still had fun watching games, and you know you did. Hey, so guess what, guys? We got some guys backstage with us that are going to join us right now. I'm gonna bring them in here one at a time. We've got Ben from Exploring with Ben and Sam. What's going on, Ben?
Recovering, but it'll be all right. It'll be all right.
Recovering from Oregon, huh? Yeah. We
It'll be
also
okay.
have Will, our resident Notre Dame fan. What's going on, Will?
Was worried about the Navy game. I took the bleach out of the laundry room and I did put it back in after the game ended. I don't know if I could have took another embarrassing loss this year, but we did beat the Naval Academy. Full respect to Navy. I mean, I root for Navy in all their other games they play just because I have so much respect for the academies. But yeah, we did pull out the win.
Yeah. And then we've got from the team that's really struggling this year, but for the first time in history of at least 10, 12 years, we got Ty Guy. What's going on, Ty Guy?
Now just enjoying this great season. Nothing like coming down to the end. And Will, I want to congratulate you for yesterday. I was rooting against you, though. I was rooting Navy. Being a Marine, I got to root for my academy, but that was a good game.
It was.
And we also have another member backstage. There's a new show that Will does on his channel. Well, actually, all three of them do them on their channel. It's called Young Guns of College Football. And here's one of them right here. Jackson Johnson. What's going on, Jackson?
Oh, it's going pretty good. Although I hate being kept up late by UCLA.
Yeah, so I changed you two around. I put the Young Guns down there on the bottom. They're together. We think that might have one more of the Young Guns join us. Anyway, how's everybody doing, man? I tell you what, we had some good games yesterday, and I'm gonna start off with the elephant in the room, and that's not Alabama. We're going to talk about West Virginia and Oklahoma, man. West Virginia pulled out a win. First time beating Oklahoma since joining the Big 12. Thing about it is we used to beat Oklahoma all the time in bowl games. I mean, we beat Oklahoma in bowl games.
And Neil Brown gets the Big 12 job for another week.
Neil Brown's keeping the job for another week. Yeah, it looks like that. So, yeah, I got it.
Joey. I heard breaking news. Neil Brown is going to sign a 5-year contract extension over that win yesterday. It was so impressive.
It wouldn't surprise me a bit. It wouldn't surprise me a bit if Shane Lyons extended him another 5 years. We got we have never beaten Oklahoma since joining the Big 12. So even though Oklahoma's down this year and West Virginia's down this year, maybe the win don't seem that great. But to me, as a Mountaineer fan, knowing how we can't beat Oklahoma, we've had some great games, 58, 56, 56, 55, 54, 52, really high-scoring games back and forth that could have went either way. Last year, we had them beating Norman. They got a walk-off field goal and beat us. So it's just been every year has been a struggle to beat Oklahoma. So I was really excited. I'm real happy that it happened. And another thing, too, did anybody watch the game? Because our backup quarterback is what won the game for us. They finally took JT Daniels out of the game. He was playing really bad. He kept overthrowing the ball, underthrowing the ball. He threw an interception right to Oklahoma player. I mean, just threw it right in his arms. I don't know what's going on with JT. He just he's fell apart here the last couple of games really bad. So, but yesterday he was falling off a cliff. But luckily, Neil Brown made a coaching decision for a change, set him on the bench and put a backup in Garrett Green, who absolutely lit him up. Did you guys get to see that?
I saw the highlights. He could be the real deal.
Yeah. I don't think he's the next Pat White. I heard a lot of people say he's the next Pat White. No, he's not the next Pat White. There's only one Pat White. But, he's got good scrambling ability. He's a lot better passer than Pat White was. I will say that. Pat White wasn't a bad passer. But Garrett's got pretty good accuracy with his ball. So I was real happy about that.
Well, the nice thing, Joey, is with the win yesterday, you're not in the basement no more. You went from last to 8. You're in 8th place because Oklahoma slid behind you, and Iowa State, they've only got one win in the conference. So you're ahead of 2 teams.
Right.
Now.
Iowa State's one win was against us, but that's okay. They still only got 1 win. We've got 2 wins in the conference. Oklahoma's got 2 wins in the conference. So I went on, I was watching Mark Rogers last night, and he said,
still
we're
alive.
talking about TCU. We're talking about TCU and he said, well, TCU struggled in Morgantown against the worst team in the Big 12. I had to call in and say, man, we're not the worst team in the Big 12. We're an 8th. We are an 8th. The worst team is Iowa State, and then Oklahoma. So, yeah, it's really exciting to say that. Jackson, I'm sorry, man. I missed what you said, buddy.
Oh, I was mentioning that everybody in the Big 12 is still alive for bowl eligibility.
Yes, everybody is. Sure, you're right. Absolutely everybody. West Virginia's got to win out. They got to win their next 2. We play Kansas State at home, so we get Kansas State at home. That's a possibility, but let's look at it. Kansas State's a lot better team than Oklahoma, and then we've got to play Oklahoma State on the road.
Righty.
Well, Joey, I mean, this is where West Virginia was picked to finish 8th in the Pac-12, so maybe the media people know what they're talking about after all.
No, we would have been picked to finish first in the Pac-12. We were picked 8th in the Big 12. In the Pac-12, we would have been first.
You would lose to Stanford too. So,
Ben, what happened to Oregon? What happened to Oregon there yesterday, Ben?
Rivalry game. That's exactly how it goes. I think Jeff and Jackson know exactly what that is like. Will knows those rivalry games. They'll come and get you. I mean, it was a good game. I mean, it came down to the last play, but just didn't fall our way. A little over aggressive play calling, just didn't work out. I mean, props to Washington for the win, but yeah, it sucks. It had to be them. But.
Well, Oregon went up
against now let's look at this.
number 1 passing game in the nation. So it was like,
let's put this in perspective, right? Washington's not a slouch team. I mean, they're a damn good team. So it's not like
that's why
Oregon lost to.
I mean, we're both 8-2. So it's not like we lost to a 3-win team or something at home and just had a letdown. And I mean, Washington, both their losses, they still played good offensively. Their defense just kind of let them down those games. And then they had that Arizona curse in the desert against ASU for one of their 2 losses. So it's not like they're a slouch team by any means.
No. Let me give a shout out over here in the chat real quick. I was going to give a shout out in the chat real quick. I'm sorry, Will. Go ahead, buddy.
I know. I mean, I understand that. I mean, it freaking sucks losing to your rivals. Like, no one likes losing to, even if it's a good team. So, pour one out for exploring for Ben and Sam tonight, if you would. Maybe a Jameson, a Jack, or whatever.
Oh, we were drinking. We were drinking on the post game show last night.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. So shout out to the chat. I'm going to tell you who we got with us here. Mountaineer Elizabeth Kenny. Hey, buddy. I'm not glad to have you here. You Bet Foster. Of course, that's my better half. Tim Forston. Let's see. Puduk. Thanks for being here. Mountaineer Paul talks football. Hey, Mountaineer Paul, come. I'll drop a link here in a minute and come on in with us. Robert Gurney. Of course, we got Nightbot. Who cares about Nightbot? Let's see what else we've got over here. The American Voice Disregarded. He said, I predicted a leg-winning field goal this season. I never thought it would come against Oklahoma, but I'll take it. That's right. I'll take it too. Yeah. Casey Legg's a good kicker, isn't he? He really is. And he's got the best name for a kicker in football. Paxton's with us. Paxton says Quinn Ewers needed pulled. And let's go on down through here. We've got... looks like it's all this chatting right now. All I see is chatting. Tiger Cat. Hey, Tiger Cat. Nice to see you in here with us. Appreciate you being here with us. I'll drop a link in the chat here in a little bit, and a few of you guys can come in and join with us and stuff. All right. Yeah, I think, Washington's a good team. Oregon, unfortunately, fell to them, and that's just going to happen when you're facing good teams. Another one that almost happened yesterday was Alabama almost lost to Ole Miss. I mean, that I really thought Ole Miss was going to pull it out there in the fourth quarter. I really did. It was looked like Ole Miss had a run going on, or was on a good roll against Alabama. Tyga, what did you see in that game?
The problem with Ole Miss is, and it's been like this all year, they come out on fire the first quarter. I mean, you look at all the damage they do, it's the first quarter. And the reason it's the first quarter is they have speed. And you can practice all week long, but you don't know that speed until you get into the game, and that speed kills you. And that first quarter, that's where they're on fire. And then after that is where Ole Miss slows down. And also, if you look at Ole Miss, they lost the game because of the coaching. Kiffin lost that game for them. They abandoned the run. They were running the ball. Why abandon the run? They started passing it. I mean, if you look, if they would have continued to run the ball, I would have given them a chance in the fourth quarter. But when they started passing, that's when, we started pulling away.
Yeah. Well,
but I do think, coaching did play a big factor. I think, if Kiffin, for whatever reason, just went away from the run.
Yeah. Jackson, what was you going to say?
Well, I said that Ole Miss is third in the nation in the running game. You think they'd use that to their advantage, like Ty Guy was saying, but they didn't. And I'm happy Bama won, and they clinched the West Division for LSU. What am I saying?
That's not happy. No one's happy about that, Jackson.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, what was I going to be happy about?
No.
I'm happy.
No,
let me say this.
If LSU would have lost yesterday, I'd have been okay with losing to Ole Miss and let Ole Miss win the West. I'd rather see Ole Miss win it than LSU.
Now, let me say this. We have an LSU fan in the chat, and that's Tiger Cat. So I think she would disagree with you guys, because I know that she likes her LSU team down there. So. Picking on you, Tiger Cat. Yeah. So another game yesterday too. Tennessee just absolutely destroyed Missouri, 66-24. So that wasn't even a game. Georgia had no trouble over Mississippi State, and Ohio State had no trouble with Indiana, which was few games we figured would happen like that. Michigan, no problem with Nebraska, 34-3. A big win for TCU yesterday. TCU 17, Texas 10. Now, I see telling people that TCU is not getting any respect, and they say, well, what do you mean they're fourth? Okay, the other fourth, but nobody wants them there. Everybody thinks they should be dropped down to 8th, 9th, or 10th, and I don't understand why. And I'm hoping after yesterday's victory over Texas, they'll say, okay, maybe TCU is for real, but they're still not doing that.
Yeah.
Well, and think about this, Joey. If the number one team in the nation right now loses in the SEC championship game, you guys all got them into the playoffs. If Ohio State or Michigan, when they lose to each other, there's a good chance they get in the playoffs. But who says if TCU drops a game that they still get in? You know what I mean? They're fighting for their life.
Right.
If they lose a game, ain't nobody giving them love. Where everybody else in the top three kind of have a cushion. Yeah. I mean, unless, the Pac-12, what could hurt the Pac-12 is Oregon still controls their own destiny to the Pac-12 championship. So if Oregon does win the Pac-12 with 2 losses, that would kind of hurt a little bit, because then they'd say, well, the Pac-12 champion has 2 losses. You see what I'm saying? So TCU is now probably the biggest Duck fan outside of Oregon there is, because TCU needs Oregon to win so they can say, hey, even if we lose one, we're only a 1-loss champion. And TCU is probably cheering for North Carolina right now in the championship game to beat Clemson, because a 1-loss Clemson team would get respect. But I don't see a 1-loss North Carolina team getting the respect.
Yeah, they're all cheering for Tennessee to lose as well.
Yeah. Well, another team that TCU's going to need to really step up for next Saturday is UCLA. Because, I mean, as I mentioned about how I wasn't too happy with UCLA last night, it's because they got upset by Arizona, which therefore keeps them out of any shot of playoff contention. Now, USC is the only team left in contention for the playoffs.
Well, Will can still say something about that here in 2 weeks. Notre Dame can make a big statement about that too.
Oh, that's
We could be the champions of the ACC and the Pac-12.
Oh yeah. That'll be a little momentum for next year, that's for sure. But
Well, one thing that everybody's got to look at is there's nobody has a tougher road from here on out to the playoffs in TCU. Now they got to go to Baylor and play, and then they play Iowa State at home. And that might sound like, okay, that's not going to be so bad of a schedule. West Virginia beat Baylor. Iowa State got beat several times. So they're 4-6. They're last place in the Big 12 right now. But then for the Big 12 championship game, they got to play somebody they've already beat. They're going to have to play Texas again, or they're going to have to play Oklahoma State again. They're going to have to play somebody they've already beaten again for the Big 12 championship. That's tough. It's always hard. I mean, just ask Alabama, right? How hard it is to beat a team twice. It beat Georgia last year in the SEC championship.
Iowa State's not that good, and we talked about this before we come online. They're last in the Big 12.
Right.
But how did that bad Iowa State team treat Oklahoma State in 2011 when all Oklahoma State had to do was win that game, and they was in the playoffs, and they went up to Ames and got their butt kicked, So, I mean, on paper, going to Ames is not scary. It's not, Iowa State has only won one conference game, but with it all on the line, who knows what Iowa State could do? You know what I mean? They could upset them.
Oh yeah, TCU's at home against Iowa State. They're not going to be going to Ames this year. Thank goodness for their sakes.
Right, but Iowa State can still upset them is the problem. That's the problem with the Big 12. Any team in the Big 12 can beat any other team.
Well, and here's what's killing TCU, their strength of schedule. I mean, just look at their non-conference schedule. Tarleton, I think that's the school's name that they played.
Yeah, I don't even know where they are. I've never heard of them.
And they started off the year with Colorado. I mean, this isn't 1990 Colorado. And then you got SMU, which is not exactly 1930s or 1980s SMU. This is a 6-4 SMU team, and they have a slim chance in contending for the AAC conference title. And the Oklahoma victory is just getting worse by the minute for TCU. And, Oklahoma State, they beat Oklahoma State double overtime. Great victory. But life's getting worse and worse for Oklahoma State. And let's see. Texas.
Yeah, but can I ask you a question, Jackson?
What's up?
We're going to make fun of TCU's strength of schedule. Let's look at Michigan. Michigan bowed out from playing UCLA to play Hawaii.
Yeah, that's
the same team that got stomped by Vanderbilt. They played the second worst team in Colorado, called Colorado State, which is probably one of the worst teams in FBS.
Yeah.
And the third team they played out of conference, I will give them a little respect. This year they are bowl eligible now, but it's UConn. And going into the year, UConn was a dumpster fire. Now they have turned it around this year, but still, it's UConn. So I mean, we can pick on TCU for their strength of schedule, but you look at some of these other, and I don't mean to just pick on Michigan. We can pull out other teams. I mean,
they don't even most teams doesn't even have a Power 5 team on their non-con schedule.
What's that?
I said Michigan doesn't even have a Power 5 team on their non-con schedule.
Exactly. And I mean, at least TCU had Colorado. Yeah, Colorado's Colorado, but still it's a Power 5. So you got to give them some credit,
True.
And they were
still 5
at
years ago.
Colorado too. They were on the road. Colorado just turned into being one of the worst teams there is, but they didn't know that when they
Right,
scheduled
a
them.
few years ago.
And see, I would talk about Ohio State.
Nobody knew that.
Look at Ohio State's out of schedule. They played Toledo, they played Arkansas State, and they played some team at the beginning of the year who lost to Marshall. Yeah, so.
And Stanford.
And Stanford.
We are the best team that they've played though so far this year because the Big Ten's so bad.
You are, Will. I just had to give you some crap.
I know.
Well, and
Well, now,
Stanford's on full eligibility now. So, Davis Shaw on the hot seat. Is he getting fired?
I don't think they care about football.
Ooh, well, they better.
I would
He'd probably
argue
take a pay.
this,
Probably take a pay cut.
for
He'd do the
TCU.
hardball thing.
Yeah,
I would argue this for TCU, and y'all can think what you want to. They went into Morgantown and beat West Virginia. That's not an easy thing to do. Now, I don't care how down West Virginia is. Going into Morgantown is a tough place to play. It's a long trip in there. It's a long bus ride. It's tough to get in there. It's tough to get out of there. The fans are crazy. I mean, absolutely nuts. And so it's a tough win. And then on top of that, they beat Kansas State. Kansas State is no slouch this year, guys. I mean, they are dominating teams. So they've got some good wins too. We can talk about how bad their scheduling is. And nobody could guarantee that Colorado 3 years ago, when the schedule was made, that Colorado was going to be bad this year, as bad as they are. Nobody knew this. So this could, it could have been a quality win just as much as it is a bad win, So that's how I look at things.
But what TCU?
But like I say,
go ahead.
Their schedule is going to dictate where they stand because, like I said, they still got to go to Baylor, and then they got to play Iowa State. Luckily, they get Iowa State at home, so that should be a pretty easy game for them.
Yeah, but what TCU is going to have to do is score style points. Do what Tennessee did yesterday against Missouri. That's what Tennessee was doing against Missouri, was scoring a lot of style points. I mean, who's really going to score in the last minute of the game? Somebody with something to gain, like playoff implications, such as Tennessee. They want to show people, hey, we're that fourth team too. Let us in. That's what TCU's going to have to do with Baylor, Iowa State, and whoever else they play in the Big 12 title game, because that second spot is still up for grabs. And
you have to look at something else too, though. I mean, Tennessee got style points yesterday, but they played a Missouri defense that is questionable, even being a Power 5 defense, in my opinion.
it's awful.
Then you've got that. So TCU's got to play Baylor and Iowa State. Iowa State's got one of the better defenses in the country, year in and year out, under Matt Campbell. And Baylor don't have a slouch defense either. So it's going to be a little bit harder for TCU to get those style points like Tennessee did this past weekend.
Yeah. Well, the next 2 weeks, Tennessee's got South Carolina and Vanderbilt. So, I mean, that'll be a cinch for them.
Yeah.
But
Vandy's going to beat them. I got Vandy beating them.
I was going to say that's a great. I was going to say that's a great segue, because I think there was another team yesterday that was pretty sure they were going to beat up on Vandy at home, and they didn't.
Kentucky.
They didn't.
Kentucky has fallen off a cliff, haven't they? I mean, they're a long way from back week 3? They played Florida, and everybody thought Florida would beat them, and they dominated them. So, we're a long way from that.
I heard that John Calipari called Mark Stoops in his office to discuss the football, basketball, what's going on in Kentucky. That Kentucky really is a basketball school, and
Yeah.
I mean, that's a 3-year losing streak in the SEC for Vanderbilt. You don't want to be that team that you allow that to happen.
it had been 3 years since Vandy had won a game in the SEC, and it had been 4 years since they won a game on the road. So that's
bad.
But if Vandy wins out, they play Florida next week, and then they play Tennessee. If they win out, they're 6-6. They're in a bowl.
Yeah. Talk about playing spoiler.
Is somebody calling for an upset right now of Kentucky over Tennessee? Is anybody calling for that upset?
No.
I'm going to call Vandy over Tennessee.
You're going to call Vandy over Tennessee? Wow.
I'll call Vandy over Tennessee.
That would be so
That's
great if that happened. That would be amazing.
Well, let's touch on another big game yesterday. That LSU 13-10 over Arkansas. Arkansas, man, they lost to Liberty last week. Now here's LSU, who's ranked pretty high. Ranked ahead, which has got me going crazy about these rankings. That LSU is ranked ahead of teams like USC, who only has one loss, and Clemson, who only has one loss. LSU struggles to win yesterday against an Arkansas team that got beat by Liberty at home.
I just don't understand. Like, they had a chance to tie the game and take the points right before halftime, and they went for it. If they would have taken the points, the game would have gone to overtime. It's so frustrating. Like, I like Sam Pittman, but he's not getting it done right now for the Hogs.
Yeah. And, Will, that is the biggest reason why I wish these coaches would take that freaking analytics card and rip it up. I know a lot of people say I'm old, and I am old, but you know what? The analytics card will cost you more than it will help you. Going for it in the first half does not make sense. Take the points. Anytime you can put points on the board, you put them on the board.
What you got to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, the SEC title game's all set. So here's a little scenario. What if we see Tennessee winning out and Georgia's unbeaten going in SEC title game, which basically clinches a playoff spot for Georgia, right? And LSU beats UAB, which they'll do. They'll beat Texas A&M, the most disappointing team in all college football. And then they upset the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, does this create a conundrum for the playoff committee? Does it force them to go, oh, are we going to do 3 SEC teams? Are we doing 2 SEC teams? What's up? What are we doing?
They would only do 2.
Yeah, you would see Ohio State and Michigan when they play. One of them's going to drop out. Let's say TCU and goes undefeated. All right, yeah. So they would just move TCU up. Georgia loses, you say? So they would just drop Georgia back to 3 or 4. Tennessee would move up. So I don't know. There wouldn't be 3.
No. Tennessee wouldn't move up, Joey. What would happen is they would have to give it to LSU because LSU's the SEC champion. They're not going to leave. Right. So it'll be LSU and then Georgia. They'll both make it, and then you'll get the winner of Michigan, Ohio State, and then the chaos pursues. Is TCU undefeated? Then they're in. If not, they'll never let a third SEC team in. Even if Ohio State and Michigan both lose this week and then, lose in the championship, they're not going to put 3 SEC teams in.
Yeah. Or
I don't see LSU running the table myself. I really think Texas A&M will beat them. I do.
Well, again, TCU is not exactly home free yet. 1, they have to go undefeated.
No.
2, you're going to have a 1-loss Ohio State or Michigan State. And then you might have just a 1-loss USC Pac-12 champion.
True.
So you have to also remember USC is still in the mix. I mean, they're right there. As much as that
and getting a little respect.
Yeah.
And getting a little respect over the SEC.
Here's another scenario. TCU loses a game. Then you have Georgia beating LSU. Tennessee's 11-1. And let's see. ACC champ is out of the running with, let's see, Clemson, goes down against North Carolina, right? USC goes down against UCLA or Notre Dame. I mean, USC goes down against UCLA or Notre Dame. And Ohio State and Michigan going against one another in a 59-56 slugfest against one another. And you have two SEC teams and two Big Ten teams, which are Ohio State, Michigan. Will that happen or will that not happen?
I don't think they want to put two Big Ten teams and two SEC teams. I don't think they want to limit it to just two conferences, because then what the committee's telling people is the same thing that the Big Ten and the SEC is telling people is we're the conferences. We're the two power conferences. There should only be two power conferences. There shouldn't be five. And if you put two SEC teams in and two Big Ten teams in, then college football just told the world that, you know what, the Big Ten and the SEC are right. They're the only two conferences that matter.
Yeah. But
And you still got to think about Clemson and North Carolina. Clemson and North Carolina each just have one loss. So, you know, the ACC is going to play a part in this at the end somewhere, I would think. So,
yeah.
Now, I'll tell you something, Joey, and this will take one of our national championships away, but it would add another national championship to us. I'll be honest with you. You don't win your conference, you shouldn't be in the playoff. You really shouldn't. And I understand Alabama, we went to the playoffs in 2011. We won the national championship. I'm proud of that team. You know, that's awesome.
2017 too.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, and then you look at 2020, or last year, 2021. You know, we beat Georgia. Why give them a second? You know, the game was the game. You know, I mean, if you don't win your championship, especially in a 4-team playoff, you should have 4 teams from separate conferences, you know, because I don't have a problem. Yeah. If you give me a 1-loss team from the ACC, they should get in before Tennessee. Tennessee's not even making their conference championship game, even a chance to play. You know, so
then you have like a possible situation such as a 2012 Wisconsin situation. That's the thing kind of don't want is like do conference titles trump everything? I don't know.
But here's the thing. If Tennessee wants to say they're national, they can get into playoffs and win it all. Well, you already had your chance to beat Georgia. You lost. You know, you had your chance. Why not give Clemson a chance with 1 loss? Give North Carolina a chance with 1 loss. Even at TCU, if they lose a game, why not give them a chance? Tennessee, you had your chance. You blew it. And it wasn't like Alabama LSU in 2011 where it was a 6-9 game. It wasn't even close. I mean, nobody who watched Tennessee and Georgia would even say it was competitive. At least last year when we beat Georgia in the SEC championship, it was competitive for a while. You know, I mean, the Tennessee game, that wasn't competitive. And Tennessee might blow the doors off a lot of teams, but tell me the teams on their schedule that's good. You know, they haven't really played anybody either. And so they've had their chance. Let's let new blood in there. Let's let teams who haven't played get into the playoffs and get a chance.
I see the argument there too. And one of the things his criteria was conference championships, weigh heavily with the criteria for the selection committee. But I see Will down here going, but I don't have a conference championship. So if it's Notre Dame runs the table, Notre Dame is going to get in generally. So he don't even have to really worry about it. But that may be why sometimes conference championships don't outweigh, say, a Tennessee.
I don't agree with that. And Notre Dame's not going to win if they run the table. They're not getting in.
Well, and the thing with Notre Dame is if they run the table, odds are from now on, they play enough ACC teams. And when USC goes to the Big Ten, you know, if Michigan will decide one day that they're not a bunch of chickens and they want to play Notre Dame again. Michigan will play enough Big Ten teams and enough ACC teams where if they're undefeated, guess what? They beat at least two of the better Big Ten teams and probably two of the better ACC teams to make the stand that, you know what, we are good enough to make it in.
Well, and this comes down to it's been said multiple times. No conferences are completely equal across the board in the sense of conference games, scheduling, and then we have, you have your independents out there still. And so there's no equal across the board scheduling, and that's what I think really makes it difficult for them to pick just the champions, I think.
Well, and that's the problem, Ben. Think about this. And this year is kind of different. But for the last 12 years, you could take the SEC East as one of the worst, divisions in football. And this year you take the Big Ten West. And seriously, if you took Georgia out of the SEC East most years, and like I said, this year I know you got Tennessee in that, but most years, if you took Georgia out of the East and you put them with the Big Ten West, that wouldn't really be a fun conference at all because, nobody, even if they won, would be worthy of going. At least, the Big 12 has teams that are worthy. The ACC a lot of times is carried just by Clemson, and the Pac-12, you used to have USC, you had Oregon, usually there was 3 or 4 good teams like this year, but yeah, conferences are not equal, unfortunately.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
How about that Big Ten? How about that Big Ten West yesterday? It's like they're just playing hot potato, especially.
No one wants it.
They're just like,
No,
you play Michigan, Ohio State.
Illinois was in firm control. All they had to do was win 1 or 2 more, and then they've dropped 2 in a row. They're like, we don't want this. Someone else go get embarrassed.
Yeah, Illinois is going to get shellacked by Michigan next Saturday. And let's see, Purdue, they have Northwestern at home, but then they got to go to Indiana. Got a pretty easy path. But then Iowa has to go to Minnesota next Saturday. Then they got Nebraska. Minnesota now, they're the ones that need a lot of help.
Now, there's an interesting thing. Let's just say that Ohio State or Michigan, the winner of that game, they play, let's say, a Purdue or an Indiana or whoever out of the West, and they lose. So then all of a sudden you've got Purdue as a Big Ten champion. You're saying the championship to get in. What are you thinking now, Todd guy?
No, they wouldn't do it on that because Purdue would have 4 long. Yeah, they wouldn't do that. I'll be honest with you. If LSU was to lose another game and have 3 losses, and even then they won the SEC, then they're not getting it either. 2 losses about as far as they would go.
Yeah.
A 3rd loss. Yeah. What they would do in that case is say, well, Ohio State, you beat Michigan, or Michigan, you beat, Ohio State. Yeah, you lost in the championship, but you're going to represent the Big Ten in the playoff. They would move on.
Yeah, I think.
Now, here's a question for you, Joey. Is Jimbo Fisher in that big of a hurry to get fired? Does he lose purposely against UMass this week and say, you know what, I'm now 3-8, and if you don't fire me, I'm going to go ahead and lose the following week to LSU, and we're going to be 3-9.
Man, I tell you,
Jesus,
these contracts, these crazy contracts they write for these coaches, aren't they silly? This man's got $100 million buyout. He's just looking for a beach somewhere, isn't he? He's looking for a beach.
He is, does he have the guts to go ahead and lose to you? Come on, let's think. They already lost to App State, and I'm not saying App State is a bad team, but why not hit the trifecta and go ahead and lose to UMass too? And
well, and that's what is App State right now. They're like 5-4 or 6-3. They're not exactly like
5-4.
5-4.
They're not exactly burning the world down over there.
they're out of running in the Sun Belt East Division.
They're 2-4 in the Sun Belt.
Yeah, I was like, it's not like App State is just undefeated and just like storming the the college football world or something.
Right.
Well, you know what I'm hearing now that I don't know if this is true. I mean, this is what a lot of people on Twitter and Facebook are saying, is that he's doing this on purpose and not preparing right for these games, so that they will fire him and he can go to West Virginia.
I'll be honest with you. That's a lie. And I mean, I have no
Yeah, it
inside
is.
knowledge. Think about
It's
this.
crazy.
Jimbo, no coach wants to lose a game. I don't care. Yeah, I joke
Right.
around that there's $90 million calling him. He's going to throw the. But in all honesty, think about that. Jimbo Fisher, no matter if you like him, you don't like him, the man has pride. And
Sure.
going 3-7 so far this year is killing him. I mean, he wants to win just as bad as Saban, just as bad, as any other coach out there. This is an embarrassment to him.
All right.
Yeah.
I didn't say I believed it. I just said, I mean, I'm sure you've seen that typed everywhere too, that, he really wants to coach West Virginia, so he's maybe trying to get fired. That's
I might
crazy.
have trolled it a
Guys.
few times. I might troll it a few times and tell people that, like I said here, he's purposely losing, to collect that $90 million check. But the question is, I would really like to know, what is Texas A&M's breaking point? I mean, think about it. They started the season preseason number 6, and right now they are 3-7 overall and only 1-6 in the SEC. They got beat by Auburn yesterday, who fired their coach because they were a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Oh, how about Auburn last night? They were pretty excited. Like after the game, the fans, the players, they were just really happy. It was the most energy I've seen all year out of that team. Now, you look at the 3 other victories, they look like they wanted to get through the day. But with interim coach Cadillac Williams, they were like really, really, really happy. Everybody was celebrating.
I mean, yeah, maybe. Do you think that they take Cadillac as their coach? I mean, there's a lot of momentum behind them.
If they beat Western Kentucky and possibly beat Bama, they could.
Here's the thing with Cadillac. He would make the best Auburn coach. He would be Ed O of Auburn. You know what I mean? He bleeds Auburn just like Ed O bled LSU. I mean, the problem is, and Williams is probably, I don't want to say dumb enough to take it, but you got to be almost stupid to want to take Auburn's coaching job. And that's not just because I'm a Bama fan. Look at what they do to their coaches.
Exactly.
The unexpected or unrealistic expectations that are on Auburn, the way they treat their coaches. I mean, I don't know if I was him that would be my first coaching job that I would, my first head coaching job would want to be Auburn.
But I think that he's like he bleeds
I don't
Auburn so much. I think he would take the job because of that.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone else
I don't want to
really wants
interrupt
that
here, but I
job.
know that I don't want to interrupt here, but Will, I know you said you had to leave at 4:45. You still got to go, or is everything okay?
Yeah, I gotta go. I was trying to make my point.
Tell everybody where to find you at real quick and stuff.
You can find me at Will ND. I'll go post my link quickly. I want to. And yeah, I'm gonna be doing another show on Thursday. Not sure whose channel it's gonna be on. We're gonna try to set up Jackson's channel this week. And I'm trying to get an interview with Jacobo Herrera, the USC Trojan, before the USC game. So check out that.
Will,
I'm also going to be doing a blog from.
You guys are only doing one channel, Will? Like you do your channel or Jeffrey's or Jackson? You only do one?
Yeah, we could try to do all 3 sometime.
I was going to say, if you don't have the StreamYard to do it, I'll loan you my StreamYard one day because I got it where you can do 3 channels at once, so you can do all 3 of them, and
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That might
I'll
be a
definitely
good
look
fit.
into that.
Well, before you go, I'm gonna send an email to you for our rivalry week, and I'm gonna pitch you a suggestion for a guest picker.
Okay.
and he may not be associated with this show, but he has like 1 million subscribers, and he's like from Ohio. So, like over 1 million subscribers. And he said he wants to like collaborate with people that don't have that many subscribers, like really small content creators. So I'm gonna email it. I'm gonna pitch the idea to you later on tonight.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome.
I'll see you guys, and
I'm
yeah,
thirsty for our show, man.
yeah, another great week of college
Will,
football. So,
Will, thanks for coming in, brother.
of course. See you guys.
Get
See you,
me.
Will.
All right, let's move on to another game here. The North Carolina Wake Forest. North Carolina beat Wake Forest 36-34.
I had North Carolina winning 38-35.
I did too. I think I actually had them winning 40. I'm gotta remember what I said. 41-30. I think is what I thought North Carolina would win by. Looking through here, like I said, Kansas State's dominating everybody. They dominated Baylor yesterday, 31-3. I mean, Kansas State's on fire right now. NC State, man, talking about falling off a cliff. They lose to Boston College yesterday, 21-20. I mean, I don't understand this ACC stuff, man. This ACC is killing me this year. It's like the best teams in the ACC, or the teams that are supposed to be the best, they're losing to the teams that are the worst, and it's not happening just every once in a while. It's happening every week. I don't know if they're just that, if they are that parallel and competition across the board in the ACC. But I mean, I wouldn't think they would be. You can look at the talent in North Carolina and Clemson, and those teams have far more talent. NC State's got more talent than Boston College. So, I didn't understand that. Now, there's a couple of things. Go ahead, Bill.
Oh no, I was going to say Boston College. Remember, lost to UConn. No disrespect to the Fighting Moras, but yeah.
Well,
Didn't they lose to Virginia Tech too? Yeah, Boston College lost to Virginia Tech too, or no? No, Boston College beat Virginia. No, I think Virginia Tech beat Boston College. I can't remember, but I mean, Virginia Tech's horrible.
Yeah. This isn't
I've never seen a year quite like this where we have so many group of 5 teams that are just staying in the top 25. I mean, they're just hanging out in the top 25, such as UCF is 17th. Right now, this is the AP poll that came out today. UCF 17th, Tulane 21, Cincinnati 22, Coastal Carolina 23. You know, I've never seen so many of those. And so, like yesterday, UCF took down Tulane 38-31. Tulane was ranked number 17 in the country then. They fell from 17 to 21.
Yeah, that surprised me that they didn't fall out. Usually that team would have fall out any other year. You know, you take a loss like that.
But are they starting to give the group of 5 some more respect, you think? I mean, it seems like they are this year.
Well, Tulane also, remember, Tulane is hanging their hat on beating Kansas State also, which is a good win. So it was only by a point, I think, but still, they went to Kansas State and they beat them.
But is it that they're giving them respect, or is it that a lot of the Power Fives are losing to bad teams? I mean, because you take Kentucky yesterday losing to Vanderbilt. Well, you're out of the top 25. You know, the Big Ten West we already discussed. You know, there's nobody there. So a lot of teams are losing to teams that they shouldn't in the Power Five, and I think that's helping also.
Right, Arkansas losing to Liberty, Texas A&M losing to App State. I mean, it's happening. It's happening in every conference. Doesn't matter if it's SEC. So that's where I think. But now here's the problem with what we're talking about. So yeah, we're saying, are they getting a little bit more respect? And possibly they are. But then you look at Coastal Carolina. They're 9-1, and they're ranked 23rd. They're behind all the other group of 5 teams that all have 2 and 3 losses. So Coastal Carolina sitting there 9-1. So maybe there's not the respect that we think. So,
McCall is out for the year, right? For Coastal, McCall is their quarterback, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they have them
I
a
am
little
not-
lower, because they're a little hesitant to like prop him up that high, knowing that he's out. Maybe that's part of the voter mindset. Maybe.
Yeah, that could be.
maybe. Let me bring the new AP poll in here and share it real quick so that everybody can see it.
Oh, here we go.
Let me share the screen here for the new AP poll that came out this morning. Got to find it here.
I'm sure Liberty's out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure after that yesterday, I'm sure they're probably gone.
Do
All right.
you think the Big
So-
12 is going to consider Cincinnati Central Florida the Big 12 title game, like the second one for them? Because two of them are going to go to the Big 12 next year.
But you like to take us out.
Oh, here we
All right,
go.
everybody can see it now. Can't they? All right, so here's the AP poll. Georgia number 1, Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, TCU 4, Tennessee 5. So the same as last week for everybody. 6 is LSU at 8-2. 7 USC at 9-1. Alabama 8 at 8-2. Then Clemson 9-1, and Utah 8-2. Do you guys agree with any of that, or would you change some stuff?
Personally, I would put USC. I would actually have USC fifth. I would put them ahead of LSU. Obviously, LSU has 2 losses. I would put them fifth only because they can win out and win their conference. LSU can win out and win their conference too, but that's really a lot less likely than USC, plus with the 2 losses. And I would put them ahead of Tennessee because for the same factor that Tennessee can't even make the SEC championship, where USC more than likely at this point is going to make the Pac-12 championship game. So I would move them up. And as far as the other ones, you want to move Clemson ahead of Alabama. I'm okay with that. I mean, you're kind of parting hairs down there, but I mean, I could see a lot of people saying, well, Clemson has a chance to win their conference. So yeah, put them ahead of Alabama, make Alabama 9th. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, that 6 to 9 range is a little. I could see them rotating that order a little bit, and I don't think anyone would complain that much. I mean, it is what it is. I would put USC up at least above LSU at this point.
Yeah.
Because they only have the 1 loss to a quality Utah team on the road. Where at least they were in it. Tennessee got totally just dominated by Georgia. So
yeah.
I'd put USC up at least to number 5, probably, or at least 6. But other than that, I mean, yeah, we could flip flop those ones around, and I don't think anyone would have any major complaints.
Let's see. Well, Penn State's up for Rose Bowl contention.
Penn State's just quietly been moving up the rankings, just kind of quietly moving up.
Yep.
Nice.
And if Franklin could only coach a 4th quarter, they would be 9-1, and Ohio State would be 9-1.
It's possible, yeah.
Do you think that Texas will still be in the college football playoff top 25 rankings because they're like blue blood status or whatever? Because of like, oh well, Texas is blue blood, we're going to keep them in, but
no, they're probably gone.
No, not with the loss yesterday to TCU. They'd be out.
Yeah, I don't think they should be either.
They are now 5-4, or are they 6-3?
6-4.
6-4. Okay.
But they're still alive for that second spot in the Big 12 title game.
All right, so 10, they got Utah, 11, Penn State, like we were talking about, Oregon, 12, North Carolina getting no respect at 9-1 and sitting at 13. Ole Miss at 8-2 is at 14. Washington at 15 after a big win last night, and UCLA sitting at 16 at 8-2. The only problem I have here is the North Carolina. I just think North Carolina should be up there a little bit higher.
Yeah, I would probably have them in 10. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, we talked about this before the show. I was like, they should probably be at least in that 10 spot. I mean, they only have one loss. They're doing what they need to do, just like TCU is doing what they need to do. So even if you don't want to respect their schedule or whatever, they only have one loss. I mean, they're a Power 5.
Right, which
Move them up.
Still matter, and they're playing a Power 5 schedule. So I mean that, and that I think that makes a difference. Okay.
Well, and look how high Wake Forest was ranked to begin the season. You know, and I mean they beat them yesterday. So I mean, it's not like they're playing nobodies. I mean, they are playing teams that was at least preseason projected to be really good.
Right. 17, they have UCF sitting at 8-2. 18, they have Notre Dame, who is 7-3. 19, Kansas State. Florida State at 20. Tulane 21. Cincinnati 22. Coastal Carolina 23. So, like I say, they've got three group of 5 teams right there in a row, including 4 in the top from 23 to 17. Any changes there? The team that's impressing me the most right through here is Florida State right now.
Yeah, Florida State.
They've got it going. They've got it getting together there. So Kansas State's impressing, and Florida.
Well, and Syracuse had been playing really good ball until the last couple of weeks, but I mean Florida State really put it to Syracuse, and they was in the dome. So I mean that's even more impressive. Yeah, you know. So I mean they went on the road and beat up on Syracuse.
And then rounding out the top 25, they have Oklahoma State, who's 7-3, and Oregon State at 7-3. So Oregon State finally getting some love there and coming in there. So
I guess somebody at the playoff poll, the AP poll rankings are staying up late.
See, I don't like Oklahoma State being in the top 25. The beating they took with 3 losses, there's got to be another team with 3 losses or 2 losses that you could put in ahead of Oklahoma State, ain't there?
Yeah, I have to probably say Oklahoma State's the confusing one just because of the way they've gotten beaten the last few weeks. It hasn't been pretty. Like Oregon State had that one really bad one against Utah after the USC game. But other than that, their loss has been really close. And the Pac-12 has been really competitive, but Oklahoma State's actually gotten their asses handed to them multiple times.
Well, and Oklahoma State got beat up by Texas and then came back and barely won that game. Yeah. But then, they got shellacked by Kansas State. I would have trouble putting them in the top 25, but that's just me.
Well, guys, we've been on for about an hour, and that's a pretty good show. I had fun tonight. I want everybody to tell everybody where to find them at and what you got going on your channel. Tide Guy, let's go with you, man.
You can find me at Tide Guy. Starting this week, I'll be doing college football videos again. Took a couple weeks hiatus moving, but we'll be doing videos. And every Monday night at 10 p.m., we do Sports Jeopardy. And if you want to come in one week and try to play, if you can beat my panel, you'll win the prize for the week. And then on Thursday nights, we're doing trivia night. And we've kind of changed it up now. Trivia night now is teams, and we're going to have permanent teams. So if anybody, we still got room for one more team. So if you can find a partner that wants to play on Thursday night, get with me, let me know. And we got room for one more.
All right. Jackson, tell everybody where to find you at, man, and what you got going on. I know you got the Young Guns show.
Yep. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Oh, I posted the links on the live chat. I hope that was okay.
That's fine. Are you a moderator here? Because it won't allow you to put the chats in. they wouldn't put them in. So you're not a moderator here. I tell you what, Jackson, just type something in the chat real quick. Just type hello, and I'll add you as a mod, and that way you can post your links. All right?
Just type hello.
Yeah, just type hello there. And that way I can
Okay.
add you as a mod, so you can put your links in.
Okay.
Special treatment, Joey.
Yeah, this is only where you can post his links. I don't see it. Did you post it?
Oh, here we
I
go.
don't see anything there.
Oh no. Jackson, posted in the not the private chat in StreamYard, posted in YouTube.
Post it in YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah.
The StreamYard chat.
Explain
All
to
right.
Ben and Sam, tell everybody where to find you at, man, and what you got going on. I tell you what, I
Well,
love exploring with Ben and Sam's channel. I sit and watch him videos all the time. We enjoy him.
Well, as normal, yeah. I'm Ben of Exploring with Ben and Sam. You can find us here on YouTube. You'll have to copy and paste that link, but you can find me on that, Instagram and Twitter, but primarily on YouTube under Exploring with Ben and Sam. Then you'll find me on the Oregon Post Game channel for Mark Rogers, and then every Sunday night for the After Dark show at 10:45 Eastern on the main channel for Mark Rogers. And then you'll occasionally see me on with Tide Guy when I feel like getting humiliated during trivia.
Ben, I thought you were a moderator already. I don't know why you're not. You should have been a moderator already.
It's probably because I made fun of West Virginia too much.
I clicked the StreamYard link on the chat. Did it work?
No, what you have to do is you have to go into YouTube and type in the chat. I tell you what, Ben, since you're a moderator, can you grab his links and throw them in there real quick? He put them over in private chat, he said, I guess. Or type, Ben, Jackson, just type your links in the private chat there, and Ben will post them on YouTube.
Okay, then. I won't take too long.
To the chat, man, I want to say we appreciate all of y'all being here with us today. Man, you guys are awesome. We had great chatting here today. I was sorry I can't read everybody's chat because I've got a lot of windows open. We're looking at college football games and rankings and going back on stats and stuff. So I appreciate you. If I missed any super chats, because I didn't see any, if I missed any, I apologize. But appreciate everybody being here today. We'll be back with you next Sunday. We come on every Sunday at 4:00. And just to give a little quick recap of Saturday's games and to take a look at the new AP poll that come out. So we appreciate everybody being here. I hope everybody has a great day, and we'll see you later.